are live. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I apologize. I've been out for a week. Unfortunately, I have just not been feeling well. Have some stomach issues I've been dealing with for a couple of years now. And anyway, long story short, sometimes things kind of act up, and yeah, it's no fun. And so I had to go see the doctor, get checked out, get some tests done. Nothing serious, but it's something that eventually I may need to have an operation just to see, what exactly is going on. But for now, I'm good. I thank you guys so much for taking the time out of your day to watch this channel. If you are new, welcome. I am Chris with Monsters Under Our Bed. We cover true crime, mystery to the missing. And of course, we're going to be covering the Sebastian Rogers case. We've been diving into it a lot in the past about month now, and got a lot of new stuff to go over today. As always, we'll kind of recap some of this stuff, but yeah, we're going to cover some new angles. When I can, I kind of work on a bunch of different projects, and for the members and Patreons, I do have videos coming out. I've got like 2 of them that I've been working on kind of throughout the week. Definitely going to have one out probably should be ready tonight, but I'll probably have it uploaded tomorrow morning, so you get notified. But with that, let's get going here. Before we get started, we always like to give back by featuring the missing. Today, we have Jessica Barnes out of Pendleton, South Carolina, just 21 years old. She doesn't even look like that. Was last seen in Pendleton, South Carolina on August 1st, so we are looking at, a month and a half. She was last seen wearing an orange t-shirt, dark jean shorts, flip-flops, and a backpack. If you have any information about her whereabouts, you can call 864-646-9409. And we have one more. This is Nicole Jones out of Purvis, Mississippi. This is out of Lamar County, and she is a 14-year-old who was last seen in Pinecrest Road area on September 8th. So that was 10 days ago. Reportedly left her house between 3 and 4 a.m., though her clothing at the time is unknown. If you have any information, you can call 601-794-8610. Again, that's Nicole Jones, missing out of Purvis, Mississippi. Hopefully I pronounced that right. Suffering the same thing. Stomach issues or something along the lines. Yeah, if that's the case, yeah, it's no fun. Yeah, it never is. Especially when you don't know what the underlying cause is. It's always never fun. All right, let's get going here. Let me get this sorted out first. Make sure I get that. Chris, do you know you can open up memberships where you super chat? Open up memberships where you super chat. No, I'm not sure what you mean. So when you super chat, I'm not sure. Curious, I'll have to check that out. Is that something new, Fly Girl? I know YouTube's always trying different things. That's interesting. You can open up membership where you super chat. Huh. I'll have to look into that. Let me get this going here. All right, there we go. So as always, the main focus is Sebastian Rogers. That's what we focus on in this case, is evidence. Yeah, we've kind of delved into some of the interviews, but the little evidence that we have is the surveillance footage, and that's what we've been breaking down for the last month. And we've made some headway, and I've been examining that. Of course, I take breaks, so that way I don't get because I think you kind of get stuck in a rut when you kind of look at the same footage for a while, and it's like you need to kind of take a break, and kind of kind of restart, and then you'll start picking up on things that you're so focused on one thing or one area, and then as you look at it as a whole, you start to realize that there's things that are popping out in other areas, and that's kind of what happened in the last few days that I was looking at this. But again, Sebastian Rogers, for those that don't know, went missing on late February 25th or 26th, early morning of Monday. That would have been a school day. They had gone out that Sunday on February 25th. And then the mother, Katie, was home with Sebastian. He went to bed around 9-10 p.m. or something like that, or a little bit before that, but then had heard him supposedly make a thud sometime around 10 or 11. The timeline kind of changes depending on which interview, but according to Katie, kind of the last known thing that we know that he was in there, according to Katie, is some kind of thud happening between 10 or 11 p.m., and then after that, she goes to bed, and then the next morning wakes up, Sebastian's gone. And then a little bit more down the road, we then get these footage that came out by Nick Barris, which interestingly enough was chalked up pretty quickly to be lights coming from a garbage truck, which I know a lot of people had some concerns with, because it just didn't make sense, considering now that we know that apparently, or I should say allegedly, that these lights are happening sometime around 3 a.m. Now, they do have their garbage truck come earlier than some would expect, and that's because they have their school bus that shows up, I think, around 5:30 to 6 or somewhere in that time frame, that half-hour time frame. And the garbage man used to come, I think, around 5:36 or 6 o'clock, I should say, and it was kind of interfering with the school bus, and so they ended up coming a half hour early before the school bus got there. And so they do kind of come, earlier in the morning than one would expect. And then, of course, originally, somebody did an overlay, and actually, I wouldn't say a big YouTuber, but this guy did an overlay, and he is known for doing overlays. And I would say this person, although I'm not a huge fan of, he is pretty known for being, he's always on it when it comes to, sticking with the facts. But keep in mind, when he had made this video, he had actually spoken to Chris Proudfoot and spoken to him before he made this video, keep in mind, and was probably told that this was a garbage truck, because obviously that's what Chris Proudfoot claimed in his early interviews, along with law enforcement. And so he thought that these lights were up at this house here, and that these lights strewn across here were garbage truck lights, actually going up across the neighborhood much higher up. But then I come along,
see that the two lights at the top,
and realize that there's just no way these floodlights could be all the way up on that upper neighborhood, because the lights are not much higher than the roof of this truck, and which
have been assumed to be
they are
floodlight,
more at the truck's level. If that makes sense.
And using this line, we can determine that those lights cannot be any higher than the hood of that truck. Using this method, we can determine exactly where those lights are coming from.
Oh, that's interesting.
So looking at where that truck was parked that night, seen
hey
in this
Joey,
overview,
good to see you. Sorry I've been out for a
of,
week.
We can then use a Google Street image and line up approximately where that truck was parked.
Hey, Itchy, that's a great name.
Notice we add the red line and look at where it takes us. There is a house exactly across the street.
Yeah.
This house is next to the Rogers residence. This home has its garage facing towards the camera.
Hey,
it
Michelle,
also
good
has
to see
3
you.
garage doors on it. Guess what? That's right, it has floodlights above each
Hey,
garage
Sharon,
door.
Geneva.
So here, I am taking a street Google view of the direction of the camera and then adding the security footage overlaid into the Google image.
What you want
And
to tell me,
notice how the
Kentucky?
floodlights do line up with the image. But because the footage itself was filmed with a phone, it is a
Whoa.
bit shaky and doesn't always line up. But this does give you an example of where everything is taking place. The lights labeled as subject 1 and 2 are moving across
Is that
the
right?
2 yards. So the big question is, are they flashlights or something else? And where are they coming from exactly, and where are they going to?
Thank you so
This
much,
is the order
Geneva.
and
That
things
is so
allegedly
sweet of you.
happened on the
You are
early
so
morning
awesome.
of the 26th.
Interesting.
At around 3 a.m., a suspicious vehicle was spotted by camera and potential witnesses,
Thank you so much, Ruru.
which they believe looked like a sedan. It traveled up Kellen and turned around. It would then park near the 2 homes towards Stafford Street off Kellen.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel a lot better though. A lot better. They are not. They're not. As
This
they get
next
less
part depends
younger-
on whether this was an
Yeah.
inside job or not.
Ugh.
If an outside job had taken place, then at least 2 persons would have exited the car.
I'll have to look into
If
that
it was
play,
an
girl.
inside
I'm gonna write
job,
that down.
then perhaps 1 person got out while the driver stayed in the car.
If by chance, Fly Girl, if you could email me and let me know, or if somebody wants to let me know, like, exactly what that entails, like the memberships and super chats and what that does, I'm curious. If not, I'll look it up anyway, but just in case if I miss, especially if that's like a new setting or something, be curious to see what that is. All right, we're going to be getting into the new stuff, I promise. As always, I just kind of like to go over this just for anybody that has not seen it. Where you find the super chat and super sticker options. So is that where you'll see memberships as well, along with the super chats and super stickers? I'll have to look into it. I'm sure we'll figure it out. Sometimes you'll email me. Okay, awesome. Kimberly, I'm glad you're back. You have been missed, loves. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Really appreciate the love and support. You guys are amazing. We have the best community. And again, I know we go a lot over the same stuff in the beginning, but it's just because there's always still people that may have never seen this or see it for the first time, and I hate to just jump right into something and then not have the context for it, if that makes sense. So. But we're going to talk about some more lights that I've discovered. And then there's one thing that really hit me that just adds more to the whole story that we've been kind of putting together this entire time. You know, we've been trying to piece what fits, what, makes sense. Again, I could have some of these overlays wrong. As a matter of fact, I would not be surprised if this is not a one-to-one. Actually, I know it's not a one-to-one exact representation of what we're seeing. I'm sure it's in the ballpark, but again, there still could be some anomalies that I'm missing, and unfortunately, I will never be able to reenact it 100% unless I had the original footage from the security camera from like a daytime, where I took a screenshot of it and then we overlaid the nighttime. That would be obviously the perfect scenario to be able to overlay something. But still, it gives us a general idea of where things are moving. I do want to do an experiment where I walk. So I was kind of looking at, how long does it take? So for anybody that doesn't know, and this is approximate because it's kind of tough, but if you went diagonally from the two homes, from where the light starts and where it kind of goes between the two homes.
What kind of light source are we looking at?
It's approximately about, what was it, just over 100 feet. I think it sat at about just below 40 yards from kind of where the garage lights are at to the two homes, where the lights kind of disappear behind. So it's approximately 40 yards, give or take. Now, of course, there's a ditch that is going to be an anomaly that I'll have to kind of work out.
And did a bunch of control tests using a flashlight, a headlamp, a cell phone, and cell phone flashlight.
I'm going to skip this here so we can kind of get to the new stuff here.
Walking around the car for a bit. Walk to my few minutes.
Okay, so let me finish the narrative, and then we'll get on to some of the new stuff here. And I've got a few little interviews to play.
At some point, as subject 1
talking
and 2
about the FBI
moved between the homes, it's believed that the suspicious car would turn onto Stafford and sit in the street for a few minutes. It's unclear as to why this car did this, but according to my sources, there were lights seen walking around the car for a bit.
This is something, Mysterious Al, I have never heard of in any case. Not to say it hasn't happened before, but I have never heard of people like death threats. And it's not just death threats to maybe some, local Joe that's going out there to search. We're talking death threats against the United Cajun Navy. Like, they have the cojones to threaten that kind of group. I mean, that's problematic, and that's serious. And in my opinion, raises major red flags. Now, I know kind of the narrative, or at least some people's narrative, is that they believe the Proudfoots could be behind the threats, but until there's like physical proof, I don't want to speculate as to who exactly is behind that, because that's not what we do on this channel. Again, for anybody that may be kind of coming in and is new to this channel, we're not. I know there's kind of like a faction or whatever. There's groups, kind of the Proudfoot group, Seth group, or whatever. We're not tied down to any of those. Again, I have no issues on either side. We just want to get to the truth. And again, wherever that truth leads, that's on the people that are behind this, if this is an abduction. But CB says, one YouTuber called someone's parole officer and got that individual arrested. Oh, yeah. We talking about... Oh, I think I know who you're talking about. Yeah, because I think Nick the Hat has a... Yeah, because he's on parole, but he's not... The thing is he's on parole, right? And as long as he sticks to his terms for his parole, he's fine. But people are thinking like he's in Philadelphia, from what I understand. And if he's, if he's supposed to stay in his state, then I understand that. But I think people are thinking he's going to,
as you can see in
Tennessee,
the short clip with the car turning its headlights
violating his parole, and then obviously trying to get him in trouble. But if he's not violating his parole, then, yeah. So this, we're about there to some of the new stuff. But here is where I overlaid the lights. And then this, from what I understand, now I could be wrong on this light, but this is the one where we're going to kind of, a focus point of today's show. There's other things, but this one kind of hit me. Again, there's just so many things that, you kind of need to reset, take a break, and then come back, and then it's like, oh my gosh, that was sitting in front of me the entire time. So this is very interesting, and it has to do with this light.
With a light source to the right of the car. This confirms what was said
Thank
by
you,
the locals
Jocelyn,
on how there were allegedly lights seen moving around this car, while it sat on Stafford.
Yeah, he didn't get arrested. Yeah. Because he's not breaking his parole. Again, I don't know his, what his parole is, but. So, again, we're going to show this here in a minute, but remember how we can see this light over here. Now, this is kind of towards the end. Obviously, we had the lights go across. And then after that, the car supposedly turns on the street and sits there for a minute, or for a few minutes, and kicks on its lights. And then it appears it's possible that somebody is coming to this car. And this really hit me because this ties into this light, which I believe is the floodlight over the garage. Now, again, I could be wrong on this, but I do have some more examples as why I think
It's
this
believed
could be
that
exact.
after the car sat on Stafford for a bit, it finally backs up onto Kellen and leaves the neighborhood.
Yeah, and as far as I know, he never left PA, so I think they were trying to get him in trouble. Again, I don't know much about that. I don't follow a
According to
lot
my
of
sources, the light seen going
stuff,
back towards the
but
Proudfoot's home is allegedly after the car has left.
I think they were
They
were
even
trying to
claim
get
it's
him
like
in
they jumped
trouble.
over the ditch in a hurry.
It's so stupid. Again, it was Nick and Dog that put up the $50,000 reward. Now, how much who put in, I don't know. But mad respect for anybody that's gonna put up that kind of money. I know Nick doesn't have the best history. Nobody's perfect. I remember when we covered the Danilo Cavalcante case. We followed Nick. It was very exciting to watch. And because he was out there in the front lines, and then I noticed people started saying, "Hey, did you know Nick had some some trouble with the law and certain emails he wrote, and yeah, it was very distasteful." But again, at the end of the day, if they're coming out and they're bringing attention to Sebastian Rogers' case and they are helping with the reward, then, I think finding Sebastian is bigger than maybe somebody's past history. Yeah, and FBI. And we're going to talk about the FBI as well, for sure. Yeah, CB, mad respect for anybody that searches. For those that have followed my channel, know that I've been out on the front lines searching. We've been searching for Aidan Clune. A boy that had been missing for 2 years, and recently, 3 months ago, we finally found the only evidence that's ever been found in his case, and that was his shoes. It was a huge find, and it may lead to something bigger, which we may talk about maybe next week. I have to get a hold of the mother and find out what if they have something planned up, but we were kind of hoping that they would bring out some cadaver dogs, since the fact that we found his shoes. And considering, if you understand his story, he was out there in April in this mountain range, and unfortunately it gets really cold at night. It's in a desert area, so it gets really hot in the day, but the temperature, so it's like a 40 to 60 degree temperature swing from high to low. That's kind of how the desert is. It's kind of unforgivable, and it's a good possibility. Although I pray that there's some way he made it out. But if not, there's a good possibility he may succumb to the elements. unfortunately. And then without having his shoes, that really slows down how far he's going to get. So I wanted to play this first, and then we'll get into the lights. But I just want to say, I know not everyone's a fan of Coffin Dapper. If you're not, I respect that. But I always keep an eye on Coffin Dapper because there's a lot of cases that I'll cover, and she covers as well. And, obviously she's former FBI. And I know she kind of rubbed a lot of people wrong. Like, it seemed like, I can't remember what case. Let me know in the chat. Was it Idaho 4? Or was it a case before that she kind of came in just out of nowhere, and she was making all these appearances on Court TV and others, News Nation, and it was kind of like Coffin Dapper, Coffin Dapper, Coffin Dapper. And then it kind of got like old. And then I think some people may have kind of just grown indifferent to her or whatever. But anyway, again, so there's a lot of cases that I've covered, and she covers as well. And again, she has connections, and I've seen her post stuff on Twitter, and that stuff she's posted, as far as I know, she's never been wrong on certain things that she posts as facts. Now, there's stuff that she may post that may be her opinion, and I know, like in Karen Reed case, obviously she didn't go with the more popular, with, she thought Karen Reed was guilty, and of course she put that on Twitter, and that didn't go over well. But you got to understand it from her perspective. She's former FBI, obviously law enforcement. They kind of stick together. That they kind of have each other's back. Because obviously, the one narrative is that police were involved on that. So obviously, I kind of understand she's kind of got a bias to that case. But anyway, getting off track here. Here's what she had to say, and she's actually supposed to have an interview with the dog. I think, 19th, 9/20, so Friday. So that's what it says. Now that could change, but be kind of curious to know. But anyway, I just want to play a couple of clips from her live. I think it was like 5 days ago or something like that. Very interesting.
Platforms to get Sebastian's case out there and understand that at least Nick and Dog combined their resources to offer $50,000. So now there's a $100,000 reward out there. Let's make it about Sebastian again, please. Please, let's make it about Sebastian. People know what happened to him. Somebody is responsible for him not being seen anymore.
And she's going to bring up a great point here in just a minute. But keep in mind, whether you like her or not, she does have insight, and she does, obviously have some connections. She's shown that before. For those that follow my channel, I've kind of shown some clips from her before in other cases where she's kind of, gained some insight. And it is interesting when you can get some insight on a case. And now with the FBI coming out with the reward, she's going to kind of explain why she believes this reward is out. And I'm sure she's going to expand on that more in her next live, maybe.
And it's going to take a whole community, a whole nation, certainly the state of Tennessee, to try to help find him. Please help him not become another Summer Wells. I think it's very positive that the FBI put out this $50,000 because it tells me they think that the people responsible for why he is missing, that there's hope. You didn't see them do it in Summer Wells. Didn't see him do it in Michael Vaughn.
Right. And that is huge. And let me replay that real quick. Sorry, I started reading it.
that the people responsible for why he is missing, that there's hope. You didn't see them do it in Summer Wells.
Right. Think about that. No reward, Summer Wells case. She's been missing a lot longer than Sebastian is. No reward in that case.
Didn't see him do it in Michael Vaughn.
Michael Vaughn is out of Idaho, for those that are not familiar. That is a criminal case. And I believe the FBI is involved in that case. It's been a minute since I've covered that case. But yeah, that's a very tragic case. I think it was Fruitland, Idaho, I believe, is the area. Let's see, 4 or 5 years old, Michael Vaughn. And we don't have all the pieces, but they did dig up a backyard, not to kind of sidetrack on a different case, but just in Michael Vaughn's case, they had digged up a backyard and they did supposedly find some kind of remnants of remains. So it was like he was buried there at one point, but then got moved. But right now I don't know if they don't have any leads, but right now it's been nothing on Michael Vaughn, which is really strange. I thought when they had dug up that backyard and found some kind of potential DNA, I'm assuming, maybe in the soil, that he was there, but then got moved. That would kind of snowball into finding the monsters responsible. But yeah, neither case, no reward.
You saw it here. Not on Harmony Montgomery. We're seeing it here.
Harmony Montgomery.
I think there's leads. Please get his face and his name out there. Sebastian needs us. All right, everyone. I've had 3 of them.
So here's another thing that she said earlier. So this was that one part I just played was at the end of her live. But here's at the beginning when she was talking about Sebastian. I thought this was very interesting as well, because for those that have followed my channel, I've had connections with former law enforcement and detectives. And speaking with one of my former colleagues, they have too said that what they're seeing in this case is a good sign, but likely points to a criminal aspect.
Very, very different. And no, do I think he's just out there making it on his own and hanging out with homeless people? I don't think that. Someone caused his disappearance, and that person will hopefully someday be held, or people responsible.
Let me turn this up. I'm sorry, I had that down a little bit.
Is that the Proudfoots? We don't know. They're not cleared. Seth isn't cleared either, although...
Let me play that again real quick for anybody.
Is that the Proudfoots? We don't know. They're not cleared.
Not cleared. Now, keep in mind, that doesn't mean they're not cooperating, which I think that has been kind of the narratives. They are cooperating, but not cleared.
Seth isn't cleared either.
Seth is cleared either, according to her sources. And I've seen her talk about this in other cases, and she's usually right when it comes to these kind of things. And I find that very interesting. That's why I sit neutral on, these Seth's parties and Proudfoot parties. Like I said, it doesn't matter to me. I just want to get, help in any way I can. And again, it's not just me. We are a team, and we're going to do something. We'll talk about it towards the end of the show, but I know a lot of people want to look at the cars and stuff. And I know we kind of did a live where we kind of looked at cars, but we'll talk about it towards the end of the live. But we're going to set up a live for probably Saturday where we're going to just look at a bunch of cars and stuff. But I'll kind of explain what we're going to do, so that way I can get all the cars ahead of time. That way it'll be a much cohesive show.
Although and I'm probably not going to do it this live, but I have some very new, interesting information that all of you are going to want to hear about. I just have to, it's in document form. I need to get it out there, and I need to show it on the screen. But that'll probably be my live on Monday.
So just to kind of show her credibility, when it came to the Riley Strain case, just before they were going to release the medical toxicology report, she had posted a Twitter post kind of saying, hey, because she had inside sources that she was able to get the documents, and basically kind of released it a couple of days early before I think the family wanted to do it. And in a way, I think maybe that was bad timing, and she should have probably waited until the family, was going to do it. Obviously, I think they're working with Steve Fisher, and then there was a whole thing between her and Steve Fisher. And then Steve Fisher kind of made it sound like there was like some kind of anomalies in his toxicology report. But then when it came out, there really wasn't, his alcohol level was high, but there was no, GHB, nothing that, raised red flags. Although I still think, that case is weird and not 100% sold on the narrative that's out there.
Live.
So before we get into the stuff that I got, it's coming up right next. I just want to read this comment, and this is, this is a great comment. Hypothermia. Oh gosh, I can't. It's hard to read it when I've got it up here. There it is. 26 degrees. Is that what it was? That's what I wanted to look up, but I know it was something like that. 26 degrees, bare feet, no jacket, 30 minutes, running on street sidewalks, would have found body. This is the thing. If he kept his body core temperature up, if he was moving, he could stay alive. But the second he stops moving, then your body, obviously your core temperature is going to start going down. And then when your body's surrounded by, 26 degrees, that is going to now start to affect the body. And if you're not moving, you are going to eventually succumb to hypothermia in those kind of temperatures. So I do agree, Monsters of Secrets, that is a great point. Now, would you find him in 30 minutes? I don't know about that, but yeah, you're on kind of the right track. Unless he was moving throughout that whole morning or night, and keeping his core body temperature up, I don't know how long you would last, and I don't know how quickly it warms up. So here's some statistics. Domestic versus stranger abductions, right? And this is taken from 2022. And basically, the National Institute for Child Missing and Exploited Children, family abductions, 58% were from family abductions. 49% of child abductions are committed by family or relatives. 27% are committed by acquaintances. So obviously it goes mother, father, and extends to, uncle, aunt, extended family. Then 24% by strangers. So keep that in mind. That's still, that's almost a quarter of the abductions. But still, when just looking at the percentages, if this is an abduction, now we're versing, is it family versus strangers, the odds are leaning obviously much more towards 3/4, more or less towards it being a family member or extended family member. Yep. FBI reward says those responsible. Right. That's interesting, Angel Mom. Maybe at the end, maybe we'll take a look at that. Okay, so now on to what we're going to focus on. I just want to check this poll here. We've got 50% believe that this case could be solved by the end of this year. That's actually a lot more than I was thinking. We have over almost 600 votes. That's amazing. That's awesome. I like the hope. 29% not sure, so that could go either way, and then 21% don't think so. But that's interesting. I do love Chris McDonough from the interview room. All right, so now Nick Barris's footage, right? Let's go over this so we can kind of explain what I've been looking at. Cricket Day says Nisa Santra. Ooh, yeah. Yeah, and we'll talk about the car thing. We are going to do a dedicated show where I can preemptively get the vehicles, and I'll please, if you're interested in that, please stay till the end so we can talk about how we're going to do that. Definitely. CBC, I'm still hanging on to Sebastian was at a bowling alley. Most likely went into a restroom where he wouldn't be recognized inappropriate behavior from. Oh, I see what you're saying. So he's, for the most part, you're saying that he, from the bowling alley, he was taken then. But if it was taken then, and if it was an outside thing, don't you think that she would have noticed and called them that day? I'm just trying to counter argument your thing, not to say, it doesn't hurt to look at what happened the day before. Who knows? That certainly could be a possibility. All right. So this footage, right? Nick Barris's footage, minute 30 seconds approximately footage, right? Now, what we're looking at give me a second, guys. What we're looking at, oh, is that going to show up? Yeah, I think it's going to show up. Okay, see how I have the box here, right? So that's like your monitor, right? It's hard when my fingers going the opposite way it wants to. So that's your TV screen, right? Or the monitor, whatever, right? But we are looking at this box, right? This top left-hand corner. Or, well, that'd be top right-hand corner. My apologies. Top right-hand corner, right? So the problem with that is we are missing gosh, it's hard to see, all of this missing. Sorry, I'm doing this up like reverse brain thing here. So we're missing all of this information down and to the left of this, right? So keep that in mind. So we don't have all the information with this video because we are zoomed in. And actually, it's not even, as a matter of fact, that's actually kind of a lie because we're actually missing. It's actually not even at the edge, right? It's not even at the edge. We're actually kind of zoomed in, so we're actually missing part of the edge right here as well. Keep that in mind. Gail says, I can't bear to think that Sebastian is no longer with us. I think there is hope. I really do. I do think there's a good chance he could still be alive. So, see this light here, right? And I know and I apologize. It's probably pretty tiny for some people. There is a static light right here, right? And this is one light I still have not figured out yet. This is on my honey-do list. This video So originally we had the Nick Barris video, right? And then we had eventually, and I got it from Bed Crime Stories, I believe. She's the one that I got this footage from. She had uploaded on her YouTube channel. So I have to shout her out because that's where I got it from. Although I have not really watched her channel, so I don't know, kind of what she really follows. But anyway, she shows the part of the Nick Barris video, right? This is subject 2 right here. So this is subject 2. I know it's probably hard to see, but we'll put this all together here. K-Mac, thank you, Chris. Thank you. And thank you for being here. I appreciate everybody's love and support. If you can, please hit that like button. It's free. It does help out this channel. There are many ways to support this channel by becoming a member. Got Patreon, super chats and stuff like that. Links are in the description and in the chat as well. But I do appreciate everybody being here. So this clip here that she uploaded is just a short clip of subject 2 moving, right? So now I'm going to overlay this because I'm going to put everything together here in a minute. But I'm just going to overlay to show you guys. And I know it's probably kind of hard to see, but as you can see, I've got the Nick Barris video in here, right? So here we got the Nick Barris video. But notice this video is missing all of this information. Oh, actually, let me move this over just a bit. There we go. Do this just a little. There we go. So notice we are missing all of this information in the Nick Barris video. Just to quote, we're missing all of this information here because obviously we're zoomed in and like not exactly the top right hand corner, but more or less, but not all the way to the border, right? So keep that in mind. But here, as you can see, I'm kind of overlaying it, and keep in mind, because both videos are moving around. But let me go back one more time just to point out one last thing when I did that. To fully put this all into... Notice, here's that light again right there. That's static, right? Which again, I still don't know what that light is yet. I'm still trying to figure that out. There's also, what is very interesting, is while subject 2 is moving along, there is a light actually right here flashing, which is very interesting. You can barely see it, and I'm going to do another video where I blow this up and kind of brighten it. There is clearly a light that's flickering down here, which is more common to the subject's size of lights and their behavior, right? So this is more likely maybe a person with a cell phone, some kind of light source that's moving, causing it to blink, but it is down there. Paula B, Chris, your time on this case is amazing, and the only one on YouTube who really is close to the truth, in my opinion. Thank you so much, Paula B. I really appreciate that. And boy, as most of you guys know, I've spoken with locals. They've told me certain things. A lot of it I was able to share with you guys. Of course, everything that they've shared with me has been told to law enforcement. I've always got to reiterate that. But there's some things that, I was told in confidence, and of course, I would never, jeopardize anything that, that someone would tell me that they don't want out there. And so I have to respect that. But, again, that information, of course, has been told to law enforcement. But here we have the video where the car lights turn on, right? So let me back this up just a little bit to put this in context here, so we fully get everything. So, yes, here it is. Okay. This video here is the one where it's going to zoom in where the car is, right? But we have this static light right here. And I know, I apologize, it's a little hard to see. This is the video where the car turns on, right? But this light is static. Almost like a floodlight. It doesn't move, it doesn't blink, doesn't do anything. But this light, so I overlaid 2 videos again. And as you can see, this light here where they're going to zoom in on the car is not the full information from the full video, if that makes sense, because we're missing all this information here on the right, if that makes sense, because I'm overlaying the car video when they go to zoom in, and then I'm kind of taking the other video just to kind of show you where that other light is. So this light is definitely not this light, so just not to get confused. And I'll get to my point here in just a second. But notice, okay, so now I'm going to just play a small clip of when the subjects are moving from the Proudfoot's home or around the Proudfoot's home in between the 2 homes, right? Where subject 2 is running along. But if you notice, there is no static light. That should be somewhere around here. So what that means, and it took forever to figure this out, because like I said, I've looked at so many different angles of this, and I'm going to show you here. And it's not like groundbreaking, but this also just reinforces this overall scenario that we've been trying to kind of put together. And here it is. So I originally thought that this light could most likely be the floodlight to this home. It lines up pretty good with the other lights. And again, of course, we've shown this. But what's interesting, and then of course we have this light where there's clearly somebody walking, and this is very important. So there's a light that kind of pops up just a little bit when the car turns on. Just after the car turns on its lights, just for a few frames, we get this light that kind of is similar to the subject lights where they kind of flicker and there's movement. Whereas, again, this light is static. And then this video is the one where someone's running back and jumping. So now putting that all together, and let me take a sip here. What really hit me is now realizing that if that light was on the entire time, we should have seen it in the Nick Barris video. That's basically what I'm trying to point out. Is we don't see that static light in the Nick Barris video. But we do see it on when we come back and the car has now turned down the street and turns its lights on. And then we also have somebody kind of with a light somewhere in this area here, right? So then it hit me that this is not only just like some kind of floodlight. This is, from what I understand, and let me know if you think, if I'm wrong in the chat, please let me know. But from what I see, this is a motion sensor floodlight. Let me know in the chat. But that, to me, that looks like a motion sensor floodlight. Which tells me that that light wasn't on. If this is the light and that's where the source is at, it's not in the Nick Barris video. We should have seen it. Just kind of maybe close to subject 1 possibly, or not far off, but it's not on. And let me just go back. Oh, I went way too back. There. This is the video that shows him returning, right? So that light should have been up here. Keep in mind, remember, this light is not the floodlight from the house. This light, I've not figured out this light. That light should have been somewhere about right up here somewhere, right? That static light. It's not on. Which tells me this further is, I wouldn't say proof, but further supports the theory that what likely happened is when the car was here, we had at least 2 individuals, maybe 3, who knows, come between the home, maybe put Sebastian Rogers in the vehicle, and then for some reason decides to pull up onto Stafford. So now they're kind of parked to the left here. And what happened is they likely crossed over and set this light off. And now, when we see the vehicle in the road, this light is on now. Again, could I enlarge it? I will do another video where I can take this pre-photo, this pre-thing. Here, let me do this. Let me do this. For those that, I apologize if you can't see this. Give me 1 second. Let me take a couple of screenshots to put this all together, because I do understand that is kind of small. So give me 1 second. But yeah, let me know what you think in the chat. For those that understand what I'm talking about. Okay, perfect. Okay, this one is the Nick Barris video. Well, actually, this is not the Nick Barris video. This one's where we have more information. But we don't have the light up here. And let's see, let me get the overlay there. All right, let me show you these 3 screenshots and we'll zoom in on them. Fully understand this. Okay. All right, let me zoom this in for you guys. Let's see. Let's go in chronological order here. All right. So this video, this screenshot here, oh, I see. Okay, I see what I did. Okay. So keep in mind, I have not figured out this light, but please just disregard this light for right now, right? So this is the Nick Barris video, right? Like I said, in the Nick Barris video, we didn't have all the information because it was zoomed in all the way, and we're missing all this information here. Then, and we have subject 2 that's kind of cruising along here, right? And subject 1's kind of here. Then trying to think which order. Yeah, this is better. Then we see that there is this light here that is now on with this light that is supposedly a person, which means that this light was not on before. So as you can see, this light should have been somewhere, maybe I think about right here. Again, oh yeah, this is the one. Sorry, this is the one I should have. Oh no, that is the right one. Okay, this is subject 2, right? This is subject 2. Okay, and we have that light here. But there should have been a light, that static light, about here, but it's not. All right, that might be a little confusing when it's not playing. So what I'm saying is that light here was not on when they're running or doing whatever coming between the 2 yards. This light's not on. Then when the car comes, it just so happens, if this is the correct area, because this is a static light, whatever this light is, I'm 99 or 90% sure it's not a person because it does not move. Usually the lights that are like coming from a person usually are flickering or moving or both. And in this case, this is one of the few lights, just like the floodlights, that stay static. They don't move. And they're consistent. So it tells me it's possibility as they were walking around this yard, they activated the lights, the motion sensors. Let me know what you think, or if you have something else. But I thought that was interesting. It was something that I didn't notice before. And again, this is just another piece. Again, we're just kind of getting breadcrumbs, and I know it's not big, but again, it just further supports this kind of theory that we're putting together based on evidence that we have. And that matches up with what we were told by the locals, that not only did they see lights supposedly moving between the yards, but there was also lights moving around the car for a few minutes. And so if that's true, that would make sense. A person comes around. Again, we have this light that kind of flickers for a minute. And then, of course, they zoom in on the car, so we really can't see what they're doing, right? But again, it's likely that they had set off this light from the home. In bowling alley, per follow Seb in, was told dad out of town, address, phone number, befriended him. Later he went outside, as not a stranger, but a buddy. Yeah, I mean, anything's possible until we, figure out exactly, all the details. Sure. Again, the bowling alley, correct me if I'm wrong, the bowling alley happened, what did they do? Bowling alley and then they did dinner after? Or was it dinner and then bowling alley? I forget. I get those two mixed up. Let me know in the chat, but yeah, I mean I'm sure things have happened like that before. But thank you, CBQ. I want to say CBQ. I'm sorry. Close quarter combat. CQB. Actually, that's how it's. But thank you so much, CBC, for the $4.99. Reverse images. You can see the lighter color of the garage door when it comes on. You can see the lighter color of the garage door when it comes on. Oh, are you talking about the garage door itself? Yeah, if the light source was strong enough, maybe. But but yeah, again, we'd have to kind of see. Obviously, it would be great is to, get more camera footage from that camera, turn on lights, reenact it. That's what I would do. But obviously, I wouldn't want to. I would never go in and bother the people that live there. I can't imagine how many people may have bothered them since this all started. Um, Deborah comes in. Thank you for all your hard work and keeping us all informed. Thank you so much, Debbie, for the $10 super sticker and the support. It means the world. It really helps me out with this channel, especially I've missed a week, so the support means the world right now. But I do have a lot of content, and I've got some videos dropping soon. CB says, also, Nick said said the Amber Alert is still on. That's interesting. Never thought about it that way. It would not be if they felt he was no longer. Summerwell's Amber Alert is canceled. Wow. I didn't even think about that either. If you guys missed it, I'll play that quote one more time from Coffin Dapper a little bit later. But I really thought that was interesting. Luna says, in my opinion, this was definitely an inside job. Again, I think this is where I sit. In my opinion, if it was an inside job, I think that it's more likely they're all in on it, in my opinion. I think it's more likely them to be all in it than one group or the other. Well, obviously, if it was going to be one or the other, it would have to be on the Proudfoot side, right? Or is it between Katie and Chris, or Katie and Seth, and Chris didn't know about it, which I doubt that happened. But yeah, that's just my opinion. I don't. I can see it come on when the bottom light moves. This particular light? I don't see like a light come on. Not to say I couldn't miss something. So that light, this particular light that I believe is a garage light on this side. And again, I could be missing something. But here is, we'll go to the original video so we can just see it on. Hold on, let me get to a spot. We'll come back to that here in just a second. Do I have it? Oh, maybe I don't have it right now. That's weird. But yeah, anyway, I know it's not there in the original footage, though. So here's subject to moving. If that's what you're talking about, that's actually just subject to. This is actually just subject to moving, and it's a very short clip. This could be what you're referring to. I could be wrong, but if you're thinking about this one, this is actually subject to moving. See, as it's moving here. This is subject to, and that light should have been about right here. And see, I even overlay it just to show you guys that that's subject to. Although I kind of have it ahead of it. I couldn't overlay it exact time. But then here, it's on. And this is where the car turns on. So, as you see, as the clip starts, it's just on. And then, of course, they zoom in. But it remains on. It remains static. So I really believe that is the light to the car. Now, of course, oh, that's me just overlaying that's me overlaying where it should be compared to subject 2. Again, I know some of you guys may not be able to see this. I may have to try to blow this up, but again, in a nutshell, that light, in my opinion, does not appear to be on. So basically what I'm trying to say, just one last time, is that the next video, which is the car video, that light is now on, and it looks to appear to be somewhere in this vicinity. And if that's this light here, then that would make sense that somebody's walking by. You can say they've got a bunch of lights. They even actually have, for those that may have missed it, they actually have a camera. Now, this camera looks like it's pointed way down. So I don't know if it would have captured anything. It looks like it's just focused right on the vehicles that are sitting and kind of point towards the door. So I don't know if that camera would have captured, what was sitting out here, unfortunately. But who knows? They could have moved the camera as well. Let me get to chat. Still some more stuff we got to go over. Mozzie Smoke, SF is trash. Yeah, I don't want to say anything bad about him. I've seen him work on some other cases that would say I felt like, again, I didn't see him, actually work, but yeah, I don't know a lot about him. I've just seen him pop up in I think he kind of helped with the Riley Strand case. Oh gosh, Kylie Rodney case. I think he kind of jumped in at last minute.
About the car. One of the things.
But yeah.
I was able to discover was that the suspicious car likely does not have daytime running lights, or if it does, they were turned off that night. Notice that the car is completely dark. Then its headlights and tail lights come on at the same time, whereas my car has my daytime running lights on, and you can see my car. I found a forum where Nissan and other Japanese cars with older models in the 2000 to late 2000 are known not to have daytime running lights.
Sure.
I also did an
but if it was, this light was triggered, I mean the timing of it, if this, again, I'm not 100% if that is exactly where this light source is at, but it lines up. And again, this is where I kind of have to overlay with the car, and then I talk about how technically, if this is right, we have a giant ruler, more or less, sitting right behind the vehicle.
Overlay, and had somebody do some measurements on the curb behind where I believe the suspicious car was parked. I learned that the cuts between the curbs are 12 feet apart. By using this measurement, we can estimate that the vehicle from headlight to tail light is likely no more than 14 to 15 feet in length. Remember, multiple sources claim they believe they saw a sedan during the same night Rogers went missing. Here are some makes and models that apply to that size. Have you ever wondered what exactly you are looking at towards the area where the headlights are located? I, along with many others, believed that what was being illuminated in front of the headlights was part of the road. Well, if you guessed like the rest of us, you would be wrong.
Is it Abelard?
Thanks to a special viewer who watches the show named Joy, she did a control test with her Nissan Altima, and while watching her video, that's when something appeared to me that I never thought about before.
Park it. Okay, turn them all on. Now back up.
Lovely, Joy.
It's during
again,
this moment
I think that's amazing. We are going to go back to the car because, again, I can't reiterate enough that this car is very important. And And I believe there's aspects to this car that they don't know about. Whatever that may be, we don't know. And maybe they will eventually put this vehicle out there. But I think this vehicle is the key. FBI basically more or less hints it's abduction. We just played Jennifer Cofferdaffer, who just talked about, noticed that they didn't put a reward out for Summer Wells, Michael Vaughn, Harmony Montgomery, which tells me they've got, must have some kind of lead, and believe that likely this is abduction and he could be alive. Obviously, that's kind of speaking more for just theory out of what they just said. But I think there's hope in this case. And that's what she reiterates, that she believes in this case there's a good chance he still could be alive. So, I think this is the time to act and to push. You've got Nick the Hat, Dog the Bounty Hunter doing their thing, whether you're into that group or not. I think it doesn't matter. I mean, the main thing is Sebastian Rogers. Again, I grew up watching Dog, so I always enjoyed him. Again, Dog the Bounty Hunter is not going to be the one out there searching and pounding the pavement. At his age, he'll do kind of like the interviews, kind of be the face, maybe do an interview on this channel or news channel, whatever. But it's really his team. He has a team, I'm assuming kind of like PIs, and then they go around and maybe speak to people. And then obviously they try to go off the tips.
This is what law enforcement can do
and
with
then
the latest
I know
program.
people had issues because they said that they were working independently. And but to me that's a good thing because let's just say this abduction was an outside thing. Maybe there'll be somebody that wants to kind of squill on the others that were involved, and maybe take a plea deal or something and rat out the other people involved. Now if it's more inside job, I think that's going to be a little bit harder to achieve because if it's family, obviously that's going to be a lot harder to have family members turn on others, because I think if obviously one person breaks, the dam breaks, and that's not going to be good. I talked about this. I showed this in my last video, just what they can do with the
I mean, before I could just barely make out that there's an N, and now I can very
just play one clip if you missed it in my last live show. But this is what they can do with certain programs, and this is an AI. This is all math algorithms.
clearly see the next two characters after that. 44.
It's like fancy sharpening. It's sharpening. There might be a way to bring it back together.
Whoa!
And if you know the motion blur direction, and you have samples along each position of the car there in that motion blur, there might be a way to bring it back together.
And for anybody that missed that in my last show, and that is literally all it is literally doing, is because the information is in there. All it's doing is, because it's looking for letters and numbers, and all it does is it like in a kind of basically shakes the image up and forms what are the most likely scenario of the numbers, the positions of the numbers, and what and again, it's all because the information is there. It's just kind of blurred, but using programs and algorithms, and really it's using, I believe, the metadata as well, and just putting that together. And again, I showed this one, and it's the same concept as if you were to reverse it. And this is such a great explanation.
Clearly see the next two characters after that. 44.
There's
It's like
a bunch of
fancy
software
sharpening. It's
now.
sharpening with a directional blur. It's like undoing. Like if I take a pixel and I write a piece of code to smear it, I can just do the opposite. I can unsmear something. The directional blur. It's like undoing. Like if I take a pixel and I write a piece of code to smear it, I can just do the opposite. I can unsmear something. All right, so here's another example that's pretty crazy.
And this is
Think
just
this is
absolutely
possible?
wild.
What? No way! No way! That's not possible. The angle is way too steep. Oh, they're gonna do a corner pin on distort.
I don't know what a quarter pin
was-
distort sounds great, but yeah, to take this and convert it to this is just absolutely insane. So I'm sure they probably have programs now. Obviously, this is more focused on license plates and numbers, but I'm sure they've advanced to like cars. Maybe they're dark now. Obviously, I could tell you that the original footage shows some portions of this vehicle. Now, how much they can see, I don't know. But obviously, it's going to be a darker shaded vehicle, because we can kind of see the white. We've got a silver truck and a white truck. We can see them pretty good. Obviously, they kind of have I believe, a floodlight kind of shining on them, so obviously they're being illuminated a little bit better. But again, we're looking at third generation quality, so we may have kind of lost the vehicle. But again, if they have just kind of a basic narrative of the outline of the vehicle, I'm sure that they have to have some programs that would do something similar to the license plate that would kind of run an algorithm that is built off what makes and models, have vehicles built into the algorithm. I don't know. It's getting a little out of my area of expertise. I took C++ when I was 18 years old. That's like the basics of the basics of code language and computer language, and the beginnings of algorithms. But I never got further than that in as far as my schooling goes. But again, so I still got a couple more things we'll go over, and I want to do a dedicated show. I want to do it, I was going to say Friday, but I want to do it Saturday, because just in case there's anything
I am
that
in
comes
the
up.
emergency operations room. For
But we're going to do, I know we did one before, but we're going to do a dedicated show for just vehicles. What I'm going to do at the end of the show, and I'll mention it so that way we can remember, is what we'll do is, just before I leave the show, just remind everybody, if you want to participate, in the comments of this video when it's done, I'll put a comment. What car do you want to be me to overlay in into the background of the car, and then so that way I can preemptively snag up all the as much as I can. Obviously, I probably won't be able to grab every car that people mentions, but at least we can get a good group of cars, and then I can put that together beforehand, and then I think that would be a lot of fun. Oh God, not the white Elantra. No, let's not talk about that. We're going to hear so much more about that white Hyundai Elantra when the Idaho 4 case comes in. But this is the other thing I wanted to talk about here. Let me get to chat for just a second, then we'll talk about this, because for anybody that doesn't know what's going on this is so insane. And I was looking at this even more than the last time I posted this, and I'm going to blow it up bigger and show you how much they have done. And we're talking what, in the first month? This is absolutely insane. And it goes back to, I forget whose comment it was that said, oh, they talked about, hypothermia. Yeah, and how far he would have gotten. And, yeah. Luna says, I hope FBI is working hard on this case. They can solve it. I don't think it's coincidence that they just come out, put out this reward. I kind of wonder, this is the thing I wonder, if they have the car, and I'm just kind of assuming, if they have the car, why have they not put it out? I understand if they have the car and they don't, when they first understand they have this car, right, that's unidentified, right? And it's the first week of the investigation, they don't want to put that out just in case they could take that car and get rid of it, the second they put it out there for the public to know. So I understand them not doing that for the first week, maybe second week, third week, fourth week. Maybe they're getting new details about this car and working leads. Don't want to spook that person. But we're now 6 months. We're now, what, almost 7 months? So, that's why I'm not worried about, diving into this car and, figuring out as much as we can about it. Because, if this car was involved, it's been over 6 months. It's most likely they probably have done something with this car. Maybe not, but especially now with the FBI coming in, I'm sure they likely have tried to get rid of it. But that doesn't mean all is lost, because obviously that was somebody owned that car. Obviously they'll trace that back, and just because you get rid of a car, you're not out of the woods. Johnny says, when will Dog come to Hendersonville? I heard rumors that he might be coming, I don't know, to Hendersonville, but Tennessee. Again, keep in mind, Dog will really not be like pounding the pavement, especially at his age. And no offense to his age, not to say he can't. But I'm just kind of going off what they did here in Utah in a case that happened shortly after Gabby Petito. And from what I had heard, because obviously I had some few connections, but from what I heard, basically it's really kind of Dog is the face. He may go talk to, some of the parents or whatever, but really he has a team working with him that go out and kind of, pound the pavement per se and work the leads. So he has a group kind of working with him. So it's not just him. Okay, sorry, just wanted to catch up with comments. Okay, so, again, for somebody that has searched, and so, in the case of Aidan Clune, a lot of you guys probably haven't heard that, but for those that follow the channel, in this case, I've been searching for this kid for 2 years, and I went back and looked at all the grid searches, right? Now, it wasn't as crazy as this, but it was something like this. As a matter of fact, I don't have the documents. If I get a chance, I'll pull up a document. Maybe I can show you again. Actually, do I have? Oh yeah, here we go. Here's not the best example, but just to show you guys that I have been working on something. So, as you can see, this is a case that I worked on, right? This is in the mountains. So as you can see, there are many similarities. We've got, scattered lines, and the biggest thing that sticks out next to the lines is the different colors, right? So a lot of this, usually one color represents maybe one group. And maybe what they are using. Is it a ground team? Another color is another group, and it can also represent, are they on foot, or is this an air thing? So, you have these different colors. So I've understand this to a point. Now, I'm sure everybody has their own legend of things, but for the most part, it's more or less the same. But look how crazy this is. And the home is here, and I'll show an overlay just to show you guys like what the hell you're looking at. But the home is actually right here. Yeah, it's just nuts. Just nuts. And let me just overlay. Let me do this one here. Yeah, is the right one. That's the zoom up one. Sorry, there we go. I think that was the best I could overlay it right there. And that's not taking the whole picture and everything, but that just shows you. So his home, so we got this road here, right up here, right? And again, that's not the whole picture. So we're talking like, I don't know how many square miles that is, but that is a ton. And that is just within the first month, I'm assuming, somewhere around in there. That is crazy. And they have found nothing. So I not only bring that up just to show that, and again, kudos to everybody. Mad respect for those that have been out there searching. I understand it firsthand, how grueling and tough that is, especially when you're doing it during the summertime and it's hot. Then I can't imagine if you're getting threats. But... And that's just showing what they did with law enforcement. That doesn't show, like, I know people are searching, currently. And who knows what that broad picture is of everybody, if you were to put everybody's info in on what they have searched. I'm sure it's massive. And again, absolutely nothing. So, again, I think with the odds of an abduction versus a stranger abduction, 24% a stranger. Now, I will say, just to go plays devil advocate, especially an autistic teen, they have a 70-something% chance of running away by the time they are age 17 or 18. So that's a huge number, huge percentage. But again, if he ran away, I just think, even though he didn't have much on him, again, it's February. I would sadly think he would succumb to hypothermia unless he was taken, as a runaway / then turned into abduction, which would be absolutely terrible. But nothing. He's a ghost. This is a compliment, Chris. You have a twin brother. My foot doctor looks just like you. A foot doctor, nice. It'd be interesting to work on feet. Yeah, that's. I wish I had that same kind of pay rate, but. Yeah, it would be interesting to see what he looked like, though. Man, I don't know if you could ever get a picture. That'd be interesting to see what he looked like. But one more time, I just want to, for anybody that missed this interview, I just want to play this quick clip for anybody that missed this, so I can read chat just a little bit more.
Understand that at least Nick and Dog combine their resources to offer $50,000. So now there's a $100,000 reward out there. Let's make it about Sebastian again, please. Please, let's make it about Sebastian. People know what happened to him. Somebody is responsible for him not being seen anymore. And it's going to take a whole community, a whole nation, certainly the state of Tennessee, to try to help find him. Please help him not become another Summer Wells. I think it's very positive that the FBI put out this $50,000 because it tells me they think that the people responsible for why he is missing, that there's hope.
That's huge. Again, that's huge. I like that.
You didn't see them do it in Summer Wells. Didn't
Great
see
point.
him do it in Michael Vaughn. You saw it here.
Such great points. And then if you missed the other one.
People, I don't think that. Someone caused his disappearance, and that person will hopefully someday be held, or people responsible. Is that the Proudfoots? We don't know. They're not cleared. Seth isn't cleared either.
So, according to Coffee Dad, neither one is cleared. I think, again, I'm sure they're probably cooperating, but I don't think they are 100% cleared, polygraph or not. Honestly, for those that followed my channel for a long time, worked alongside a former detective, and he was not big on polygraphs. He was not interested on who passed what or who failed what, unless there's maybe some consistency to it. Then I think there's probably some more. But Chris, did you get the post of the kid that was able to show it was a truck? Tanya, I have not heard of that. I would love to know if that's true. If you know anything, if you could email me, I would love to see that. Again, that kind of goes against what I've been told. I think we're more looking for a sedan, a smaller vehicle. And again, we'll go over that Saturday. We'll do a special show, because I know a lot of people love to start, getting involved. And again, it was a lot of fun because Joy Jones helped me out. We kind of figured out what this,
are 12 feet apart.
What this light
By
source
use of
was,
the road
which was pretty
footage,
amazing.
finally came together. It was not the headlights illuminating the ground, but actually the fog, or morning dew as they call it in the
Something, yeah.
south. Notice we don't see anything light up in the back or the front like in this video.
Maybe
And
he
also,
is. I could be
notice
wrong.
this part where it's like a shadow. Notice when he backs up the car.
Yeah, and that's what it's about, really, is just the fact that it's Dog the Bounty Hunter. Yeah, whether you like him or not. Yeah, he's going to bring more attention to the case just because of his publicity. And, yeah, that's not a bad thing for Sebastian Rogers. And, again, I've never seen a case where people have gotten threatened, and I don't know, something doesn't add up in this case. It's not like others. Cowgal says, if it was an outside job, I believe there would have been digital evidence of someone luring him outside. Nobody broke in and took him. Yeah, you would think if it was an outside job, it'd be a little bit more messier, more likely where they're going to slip up somehow. Because obviously it's an outside job. Unless you had connections to somebody that knows the family, you've got so many variables that are sitting in front of you. You don't know, is mom still up? You know, are you doing this at 3 a.m.? You don't know if mom's going to get up and go to the bathroom at 3 a.m. and while you're trying to break in, you know, she sees you.
This
you
is
know,
what law
so-
enforcement can do.
Yeah,
with
so many variables where things could go wrong and you're screwed. Whereas, you know, an inside job, obviously, you've kind of got a home field advantage. And it does kind of everything that I've seen and looked at, it just points all in that direction. And again, does that mean it's just the Proudfoots only? No. Could it be? I think if it's an inside job, it would not surprise me if they're all involved. In my opinion, but we'll see. This was well orchestrated. Why? And I think we've kind of talked about the why. Obviously, I don't go too much into that, but, you know, obviously we could spout some motives as to, you know, Sebastian Rogers, the case coming up with Faith. You know, that timing is kind of coincidental. Again, I don't focus a lot on that stuff, but that does kind of add, you know, the interviews. I know you have all these behavioral analysts, experts that can break those things down, and yeah, they even them said, you know, their behavior, you know, didn't seem right. You know, obviously they were waited 8 days to go public. Just to spout one more thing off before we get towards the end here, is I worked with Candace Cooley. I'm sure a lot of people have heard of the Dylan Rounds case. Dylan Rounds case was huge. I was involved in searching, helped with Texas EquiSearch. I was literally standing where his phone was found 2 times before it was found in a small little pond. We would have found it. Actually, I'm kind of glad we didn't, because that actually what was found in that phone actually was super crucial, because it actually had like a video that was actually recorded by the killer. It was kind of like a time-lapse video that the killer accidentally turned on, and he filmed himself just after he had committed the murder, and he was covered in blood. And that is literally going to be it was the biggest damning evidence, and they were able to use that, and they were able to get a deal. And anyway, long story short, Candace Cooley, anytime she could make a media appearance, she was on it. I had her on. I can't even count how many times I had her on the show, and how many times she was on other people's shows. She was, and keep in mind, she knew pretty early on that her boy was most likely dead. Actually, at one point, she knew her son was dead. Yet she is still making the rounds, fighting the social media fight to get, because she felt like law enforcement was kind of stalling, and they were. They should have arrested the guy that was responsible a long time ago. Anyway, then with Aidan Clune, his mother, Amy, she would die to have that same kind of exposure. She tried her hardest. She's finally able to get Aidan's story on News Nation. They did a thing on it, and that was huge for her. And now, unfortunately, just some cases, there's only little minute cases that make it to that mass, level where it's being covered every day. And then you've got, 99% of the other cases, unfortunately, just are not going to get that same attention. So you could only understand how that would make some people frustrated. Like, if they had that same, if their son or case had that same kind of exposure. Carol, Chris, I'm glad you're feeling better. Thank you for all your hard work. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Appreciate the support. Dylan Rouse is my introduction to the true crime community. Yeah, that was a wild case. And we were there from the beginning. And my goodness. Yeah, that was I'm so glad that they were able to find him and make a deal with Renner. But Yeah, I did see that, Beth. Yeah, that was interesting. It's sad that people will go to that length to, report people. To me, it's just pathetic. I don't know. To me, it's pathetic. I'm sorry. It's pathetic. I mean, if you got that much time, then you need to go call in people. I don't know. I don't know who was involved in that, and I don't care because that's not my thing. I just care about Sebastian and working whatever angles we can look at. Yeah, including, yeah, 'cause they actually went missing really close together, as a matter of fact. But unfortunately, one case got the attention while the other one doesn't. It's just kind of how it goes, sadly. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think, especially if there's an inside job, I think there is motive. Yeah, I think the motive is there. Chris, would you be able to people going through the yards with the lights? Oh, I think I see what you're saying, Anna. Would you be able to get people going through the yards with the lights? As a matter of fact, I had somebody offer that they may do that, and they still may try to. Now, keep in mind, if they do this, they will have permission with the properties that they are doing this. But as far as I know, that hasn't happened. But if it does happen, then, and if we can share it on this show, of course we'll show it. One other thing I did want to share is what I wanted to do is I was going to, and I've already kind of calculated this out, so I'm not surprised. But if we go back just to this first one here, let just kind of think about this. That the way everything is looking, if this is true, let's see, do I have the right one? Okay, I do. Keep in mind, if this is what happened, what we are likely seeing is the video evidence of Rogers being escorted out of the home. Just keep that in mind. Like, I don't know if that's fully set in with me, but the distance between where this person is going and to where they end, where they go out of screen, it's approximately 100 feet, a little over 100 feet. If you're walking, the average person walks 3 to 4 feet per second. Right? So this should have only took them, let's say 90 seconds or 90 feet. That would be, so we did 3 feet per second. 30 seconds with 3 feet, that is 90 feet. Right? So it should have been approximately, but then of course you do have the ditch. So this is where you kind of have an anomaly that I still have to kind of figure out. But on average, 3 to 4 feet per second. That's 100 feet. So 32 seconds or so if you were just walking at an average pace, right? From point A to point B where this person went. But they take much longer. Now, one, they have a ditch that they're going through. But they almost take, in essence, almost twice as long if you were just straight walking from point A to point B, from subject 2 to subject 1. Again, approximately 100 feet. If you were going 3 to 4 feet, it would be about 32, 33 seconds. But this takes them actually a minute and 29, 30 seconds, right? So it takes them almost 3 times the time to make it. But they do have the ditch, so we would have to kind of consider that as well. But this almost more goes in the lines as if you were escorting somebody. You would think that may take a little bit more time, maybe especially if you're trying to, escort him, and maybe he's not aware of what's going on, and all that. And then there's a period where, subject 2 is kind of hanging out for a second here. We don't know what's going on. Almost like there could be, I don't want to say a struggle, but this is kind of interesting that they're kind of stalling there for a minute. But then they do continue on. So it is interesting that for the average time, they do take longer than it would if you were just to cross that amount of that length between point A and B. Angel the mom says, if my child was missing, I'd be screaming from the heavens for help. Right. Yep. Thank you so much, Anna. Yeah, and again, for those that are coming in and missed me, I apologize. I've been out with stomach issues, and I've got another appointment here soon to kind of get looked at. Oh, he's a foot surgeon. Oh, that's cool. That's funny. That'd be cool to see my twin. Yeah. Yeah, even with the torch. Yeah, and then, it is dark too, so I guess, you would have to take that in consideration. But yeah, they take 3 times less, but you'd have the ditch. But yeah, they're going a third of the normal speed an average person walks. So again, does that immediately say, that's proof that there's somebody being escorted? No, but again, it's just another thing to add on that it's interesting. So yeah. Let's see, what time is it? What time did we start? 5:30. That was about 7:30. Let me just pull it up to the car. So again, I had to kind of take a break from the car for a minute just so I could kind of, and again, it's because I had noticed that there was some other lights, and I still have not figured out. So there's 2 more lights that are actually going on. And let me just show you this, and we'll finish up. What video is it? Yes, this video right here. So in the video where subject 2 is moving, it just so happens that, because again, we now have a video that's only... It doesn't show the whole subject 2 and subject 1. For some reason, it only shows like the last 20 seconds or so of it, maybe less than that. But what's interesting is there is a light that shows up down here. And again, it's one of those lights that just kind of pop in and off. And this is during when subject 2 is moving. And again, another thing where sorry. There it is. Yeah, it's hard to see. I'll have to run some filters to light it up, but it's right here. And this is when subject 2 is coming along, but there's a light that just kind of pops up for a second. And what's interesting is that light is actually close to where the light shows up later on when the car is there, and it's kind of in this area here. So maybe that person kind of coming around. Not sure, but anyway, man, what I would do to have just some of the more unadulterated footage, it would be great. But so before we go, we'll do I'll have a show Friday as usual, but we'll do a special show Saturday, and we'll focus specifically on cars. And what we'll do is, as soon as this live ends, I'll put in the comments of this video, I'll pin a comment at the top and say, what car would you like me to overlay? And then we will just kind of go through what you guys would like to see. That way we're all involved. Again, if you would like to send any clips in, especially of cars at night, turning on lights, it would be great. Some are helpful. I mean, everything is helpful. And sometimes just things that, just like Joy Jones, I was really kind of hoping to look at a certain aspect, and then that video ended up showing me that the light, what we are looking at from the lights, is likely fog. And that's compared to her video that she did. And so, it's amazing that, you kind of hoping to get help to look at a certain aspect of one thing, and then it actually helps you clear up something else in the video. So it's amazing what, when people put their heads together and collaborate as a team. And it's all for Sebastian Rogers. Again, it doesn't matter who's behind it all, whether it's Proudfoot, Seth, or an outside job. It doesn't matter. It's all about Sebastian. So Patreon's members, I have a video. I've literally car outside. Literally almost done with it. I just have to finish up a few touches, so it should be ready tomorrow morning. So okay, KK. Sorry, I've got cars just driving like crazy. Trip, fell, stumbled, jumping the trench. Yeah, I'm sure that slowed them down. It's a big trench, and then with them jumping over it. Now keep in mind, this is something that I was allowed to share. From what they understand, is when they go back and they jump over it. From what I understood, is that they could actually, I don't know how much they could make out of the person itself, but they could tell that the person was jumping the trench. So that just goes to show, if you could make out maybe just the outline of a figure jumping the trench, and that's further back, imagine what you could make out with the car. So just think about that. I'm telling you, that car is the key, in my opinion. Again, thank you to everybody for being here and hitting the like button, chatting. And then I've just got to give a huge shout out to Richie Rich. I'm sorry I missed you earlier. The $1.99. Keep up the hard work. Thank you so much, Richie Rich. Appreciate the support and the donation. Really helps, especially when you miss a week of work. This is my job, so I do appreciate the support, and I really try to put out as much content as I can in different and not always cover the same stuff. Leslie and Billy, neighbors close by. Thank you so much, Leslie and Billy. The $2 super chat. I appreciate you. You guys are amazing. And then, of course, to all my wonderful mods, Dee, Jocelyn, Copper Horse, Karen Lee, Jennifer, Michaela. I really appreciate you guys. I'm going to end the poll. It went down to 49, but it was really at 50 for most of the part. But 50% believe that this case could be solved by the end of the year, which I think it's possible. Mitzi Scott, take care of yourself, Chris. We all understand, care about you. You're always giving us great content, and we applaud your efforts. Thank you so much. Sue, thank you, Chris. Glad you're feeling better. Yeah, still not out of the woods, but yeah. I got time today. It says I'll have to rewatch. I made it late. No worries. Mujamala. Geez, I'm late. No worries, but I appreciate your 29 months. That's so awesome. You guys will be on the replay crew. Love you all. Thank you so much. Again, I appreciate it. Richie Ritz says awesome live. Much love to everyone. Back at you. We will be back live Friday, and then again, as soon as this live ends, I will put a comment so we can get some cars going. We'll do that Saturday, but of course I'll have a live Friday as well. And then Patreon's members video out will be out tomorrow. So with that, I am out of here. I hope you guys have a great rest of your Wednesday, and we will talk to you guys soon. Much love.